All right, Shalom, Israel, Shalom, Shalom. Peace and blessings to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. And shout out to the sister Mary of Bethany in Mark 14 that anointed our king with the precious oils. And shout out to our ancestors that lost their lives for keeping our laws, statutes, and commandments, man. So all praise to the Most High. So tonight's video is going into proving Black people are descendants of the 12 tribes of Israel, man. And this should be a good video. I know a lot of times as we go out and teach this Bible, you may see brothers on the corners teaching the Bible. You know, we always touch on how we the Israelites, because we may tell people that we the Israelites, but a lot of times our people, sometimes they never heard of the Israelites, or they don't know how they Israelites. So you know, we take them to the curse of Deuteronomy 28, and that's what I'm going to take y'all into in this video. That was there to, you know, also prove that we are the people of the book, man. Because a lot of people, you know, we think we a lot of different things. You know, some of us think that we Muslims. Some of us think that some of us think we Muslims. Some of us think that we Egyptians. Some of us think that we are the Moors. Some of us think that, you know, we are nothing. You know, some of our people say that they don't have a nationality. They're just human. So I'm going to prove, you know, according to the Bible, that, you know, we are descendants from the 12 tribes of Israel, and the 12 tribes of Israel are God's chosen people. So before I get into this lesson, let me play this real quick. Khan, all praise to the Most High, man. So before I get into like the scriptures of showing that we the Israelites, you may have some people be like, well, why does it matter? I done heard that before. Why does it matter? Or they say it don't matter if we Israelites or not. Well, let me show you according to the Bible why it does matter. Because when you get the book of Psalms, chapter 83, let's start at verse 2. And I actually pulled this scripture during my Sabbath lesson Saturday, right? It says, for lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. So here in the book of Psalms chapter 83, right, the Bible is telling you that it's a group of people that hate you, and they plotting against you, and their whole mission is to try to make the nation of Israel not remember who they are, or to stop the nation of Israel from keeping their laws and commandments that was given to them by their God. This is what verse 4 tell you. Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. So here we have our enemies, right? They know how important it is for us to know that we Israelites. This is why they trying so hard for us not to know that we the people of the book. They trying to cut us off from being a nation. They're trying to cut us off from being one, like from the Israelites being one people. They're trying to turn us against each other. They're trying to drug us. That's why there's liquor stores in every corner in the hoods, man. They all come together and plot You got the Arab, like the Arab man, the Chinese man, the East Indian man, the white man, the what I name all the white, I said Arabs, the East Indian man, the Chinese, the Japanese, the so-called white man. All of these other nations, they come together around this big round table that we would never know nothing about unless the Bible told us about it. If the Bible didn't tell us about it, we would probably never knew they was doing it. But they do put it in shows. Like it's a show. I think they put it in The Simpsons. I think they put it in The Simpsons. Evil Round Table. See, this is what this is. They put it like they put it in shows and stuff like this, but this is really what they be doing, man. This is what they do. They do behind the scenes. They come together and they do crafty counsel on how to keep the Israelites asleep from not knowing who they are. So our oppressors, right? They know it's important for us to know that we Israelites. This is why they trying so hard to stop us from waking up and knowing that we are the Israelites. And I'm gonna show you why they doing it. It's a reason why. They know the reason why. A lot of our people don't know the reason why, but they know the reason why it's important for us to not wake up and remember who we are. Let me show you why. Judith chapter 5. I also pulled this scripture last Saturday. Judith chapter 5, and I'm gonna start at verse. Judith 5, and I'm gonna start at 17. And while they sin not before their God, so let me get context right. This is let me start right here. Then was it declared to Holofernes, the chief captain of the army of Assur, that the children of Israel had prepared for war and had shut up the passages of the hill country and had fortified all the tops of the high hills and had laid impediments in the campaign countries. Wherewith, am I still recording? Okay, all praise, all praise. Wherewith he was very angry and called all the princes of Moab and the captains of Ammon and all the governors of the sea coast. And he said unto them, tell me now, ye sons of Canaan, who this people is that dwelleth in the hill country, and what are the cities that they inhabit, and what is the multitude of their army, and wherein is their power and strength, and what king is set over them or captain of the army. So basically, Holofernes, right? He's basically trying to get information on the Israelites because he's hearing about the Israelites and how we know we preparing for war and things like that. So he's basically calling his chief men to try to get information on the Israelites and see, do anybody know anything about these Israelites? You know, what's their strengths, what's their weaknesses, like what's their history. He's trying to get all the information he can on the Israelites, right? Because these are the people he's finna have to go to war against. And why have they determined not to come and meet me more than all the inhabitants of the west? Then said Achur, the captain of all the sons of Ammon, let my Lord not hear a word from the mouth of thy servant, and I will declare unto thee the truth concerning this people. So at Achur, however you say his name, he's finna basically put the captain or the king on some game about the Israelites to let him know about us. And I will declare unto thee the truth concerning this people, which dwelleth near thee, and it inhabiteth the hill countries, and there shall no lie come out of the mouth of thy servant. So he's basically finna run down the history on the Israelites, right? A quick little history on the Israelites, and back during the time of Egypt and how he freed us from Egypt, and just how we was, how Moses parted the Red Sea. So this is something that everybody knew about. Like this is a story. Everybody knew about the story in Egypt and about the Most High, how he freed us out of Egypt. So when you jump down to verse 17, he said, and while they sin not before their God, they prospered, because the God that hateth iniquity was with them. So the Bible said, or the dude telling the king, When they didn't sin against their God, they prospered. This is something that they always recognize. When the Israelites are keeping their covenant with their God, they always prosper. We're not finna beat them in war when they obeying their God. It said, but when they departed from the way which he appointed them, so when the Israelites turned their back on their God and his laws and commandments, they were destroyed in many battles, very sore, and were led captive into the land that was not theirs. And the temple of their God was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies. So this is what happened. Even when you get into the Old Testament and you read, it's a constant cycle of the Israelites continuing and going into slavery because of their disobedience, and they turned their back on their God, right? So it's like they know this. These heathens, they knew this about the Israelites. So how much more in today's time? You think they don't know this about us? He said, now therefore, verse 20, now therefore, my Lord and governor, if there be any error against this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin. And let us go up, and we shall overcome them. So they know, okay, if we go if we go and look at, if we finna battle the Israelites, or we just go over there and scope them out and spy on them, and they over there eating pork, and they over there sacrificing the other gods, and they over there into homosexuality, and they over there, worshiping the idols and statues. Let's go to war against them, because we're gonna overcome them. Why? Because they're weak, because their God is not fighting for them. So if they in sin, we're gonna overcome them. He said, but if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them and their God before them, and we become a reproach before all the world. But then he was like, okay, but if we go over there and spy on them, and they're, they keeping the Sabbath day, they keeping the feast days in gladness, they loving their neighbors themselves, right? They basically keeping the commandments. We don't need to go to war against them, because we're not going to win. It's impossible to beat those Israelites when they're keeping the commandments and not sinning. So what we have to do is make sure they're in sin before we go and fight them. So this is what's going on now. And this goes back to that Psalms 83 I just read, when they took crafty counsel against our people. And they said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more remembrance. So they know the elites and the powers that be that run this earth, they understand that if the Israelites continue on in sin and continue on not knowing who they are, that they gonna continue to rule over us. And they also understand that when we wake up and start keeping our commandments and start crying out to our God, that their rulership is going to be over, because our God is going to deliver us out of the hand of this, out of the hand of this captivity, man, out of their hands, right? So this is why it's important for us to know that we the people of the book, because it has to be important in order for them to try to not allow us to know who we are. It's a reason by them not doing that, because they don't want us to know we Israelites. Because if we know that we the Israelites, we know that we the people of the book, and we know that it's promises waiting for us. And they know that if we realize we the Israelites and start keeping the commandments of God and start crying out to him, he gonna save us. Then their rulership is over. But if we don't know that we the Israelites, and if we don't know that we the people of the book, we're just gonna be reading the book and just reading it, and we're not gonna want to repent, and we're not gonna cry out, because we don't know that we these people. So, and we're just gonna be reading about the Israelites, and it's about us. When you read about the Israelites in the Bible, when you read about these men that's descendants from Israelites, like Moses, like Paul, like David, like Daniel, like Isaiah, like Ezekiel, like Jeremiah, like Amos, like Christ, like Peter and the disciples. When you read about these people, these are Israelites. These are our ancestors. We are related to these people by blood, and they don't want us to know this. This is why when you watch all these biblical movies, of all these biblical movies that they put out, all the people are white. Then they kind of starting to make them Arab now. They starting to say, okay, We can't make them white no more because they're catching on to what we're doing. They know that they know these people not white. So let's make them Arab. Let's start making these people Arab now. But even then, right, a lot of these Arab, they know that their ancestor is not is Ishmael. They know they know that they don't descend from Isaac. They know they descend from Ishmael. Ishmael didn't get the covenant of the blessings he got a blessing, but it wasn't the blessing. If you get what I'm saying, it wasn't the blessing. He got a blessing, but it wasn't the blessing of the covenant from Abraham to Isaac, and it passed on to Jacob. And Jacob had the 12 tribes of Israel, which are the chosen people of God. So, and all of this is going to make so much sense, because once we find out that we are the Israelites according to the Bible, then, and this is why they don't want you to know this either, because it's so many, like, it's going to expose so many of their lies that they've been telling us. Because if we're the 12 tribes of Israel, right, if we're the 12 tribes of Israel, and we know that Christ was an Israelite. And so if I'm part of the 12 tribes of Israel and Christ was an Israelite, how did he look? Furthermore, he was a Jew. So how did the Jews look? If I'm an Israelite and Christ was an Israelite and he was a Jew, right, and I'm a Jew, so there's no way that I can be anti-Semitic. How they like to say you anti-Semitic when you say something against them? How? When I'm Semitic. So you got to make it make sense. Then they're going to have to try to explain why they're making all these biblical movies with all these characters that are not looking like us. Then they're going to have to throw away the painting of Christ, because it's going to be further proof that, okay, then they're going to have to stop saying he's an Arab or a Middle Eastern, because the Israelites are so-called African Americans, right? So if we so-called African Americans, that means if Christ was an Israelite from the tribe of Judah, he would have had to been a so-called African American if he was walking the earth right now. That's what they would have called him, because they call us that now. So it's so many pieces that have come together once we realize that we are this people of this Bible. So let's prove that we're the people of the Bible, man. It's really simple, man. All praise to the Most High. It's really simple when you get into Deuteronomy 28, and this is why it's very important to read Deuteronomy 28, right? Because Deuteronomy 28 is the icing on the cake. This is the icing on the cake to know who the Israelites are in these last days right now, man. So when you get Deuteronomy 28, matter of fact, let me get Deuteronomy 28, and let me start at let me start at 40. Let me get 46. And I'm gonna go back to the beginning. This Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign. Let me start at 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hearken not unto the voice of the Lord thy God to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. So these curses that I'm going to read to you in a few minutes that are written in Deuteronomy 28 is supposed to be a sign. It's supposed to be a sign of who are these biblical Israelites in today's time. It's a sign. Just like when you see a yellow M, okay, you know that's McDonald's. Just like when you see that white logo, when you ride around, you see that white little logo of a little girl with freckles and red hair, you know that's Wendy's, right? So these curses that we finna read is supposed to point out, just by these curses that we reading, it's supposed to point out who these biblical people are in today's time, because the Israelites are not done away with, right? The Israelites just didn't disappear. These people are still on the earth somewhere. We just got to figure out who these people are. So when you go to Deuteronomy 28, now when you read verse 1, it says, it shall come to pass if, you got to keep that in mind, if, that's a big word, thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God to observe to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations on the earth, right? So when you read Deuteronomy 28, starting at verse 1 all the way down to verse 14, these are the blessings that the Israelites would have received if we obeyed the Most High God's commandments. If we obey his commandments, we would have been blessed in the cities, blessed in the fields. It say, blessed shall be thy basket in our store. Blessed shall thy be when thou cometh in, and blessed shall thy be when thou goeth. The Lord shall cause thy enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come out against thee one way and flee before thee 7 ways. It says, and all the people of the earth shall see thee, that thou are called by the name of the Lord, and they shall be afraid of thee. It says, I'm just skipping around. It says, it said, it was another one I wanted on here. It says, the Lord shall open unto thee his good treasure, the heaven to give the rain unto thy land in his season, and to bless all the work of thy hand, and thou shalt lend unto many nations, and thou shalt not borrow. And the Lord shall make thee the head and not the tail, and thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath. If that thou hearken unto the commandments of the Lord thy God, which I command thee this day to observe to do them. So all of this are the blessings that the Israelites would have received if they obeyed the Most High God's commandments. That's why he said, if you obey my commandments, you will be blessed. You won't be at the bottom of the barrel. You won't be cursed. You will be blessed. But hold on. It's a flip side of the contract. When you get verse 15, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee, right? So it's this. So now the Most High saying, I showed you what you would get if you obey my commandments. But now, if you disobey my commandments and my order, now this is what you're going to get. And he said, you're going to be cursed. The Israelites going to be cursed. Now, when you get into the curses, because the Israelites, we didn't keep the covenant. So we received the blessings, the curses, because we didn't obey our Father. Now, when you read, so I'm going to get a few of these curses. When you read a few of these curses, it's going to be like nearly impossible to say that the Israelites are not our people, or the Black and Hispanic people. It's going to be nearly impossible. Like if you say that you don't see us when you read these curses in today's time, if you say that you don't see so-called African American and so-called Hispanic and Native Indians, if you say that you don't see us going through none of these, or as a nation of people going through these curses that the Bible said was going to happen thousands of years ago before this even happened, I don't know what to tell you, man. Let me get the first curse. Cursed shall I be in the city, and cursed shall I be in the hood. So the Bible said that the Israelites, if you didn't obey the commandments, you're going to be cursed in the city. Now remember, if we would have kept the commandments, it said if we would have kept his commandments, he said we were going to be blessed in the city and blessed in the field. But now he's saying we're going to be cursed in the city and cursed in the field. So when you think about the people cursed in the city, right? I ask my people this all the time. What people are, when they say cursed in the city, it's talking about a people that's not taken seriously, looked down upon, in poverty. They occupy the ghettos. They occupy the trap houses. They occupy the hoods. What people do you imagine as a nation of people? What people do you picture of them just being a curse or living, or it seems like nothing can go their way in any city they go to? I see my people. I don't see people marching saying East Indian lives matter, or Chinese lives matter, or white lives matter. right? I don't see people marching around protesting so people can have pity upon them, man, because they catching so much hell and they need help. I don't see other people killing each other over gang violence or over blocks they don't even own like our people. I don't see the police killing other people like they do our people. I don't see other nations of people occupying the ghettos and the poverty sides of the cities. When you think about the hood, what people do you think about that's occupying the hoods in poverty? It ain't the East Indian man. I ain't never seen the East Indian man projects or hood. I ain't never seen a Chinese man hood, man, that occupied just Chinese people. We are the ones that's cursed in the city, man. And he said, and that's why it's hard for us, even in the job field. We last hired, first fired. They barely want to give us jobs. So we are the people that's cursed in the city. And this speaking about the Israelites. And he said, and cursed shall I be in the field. The Lord said, not only is you going to be cursed in the city, you're going to be cursed in the field. So when you think about a people, right? When you think about a people that was ever cursed in a field, what people do you think about as cursed or have been cursed in the field, man? This also can go with our so-called Hispanic brothers and sisters that still in the fields to this day. And they not even really making no money for real, man. They was in the fields back and during the conquistadors, man. When the conquistadors came and conquered them, right? They was in the fields too with us, on them ships with us. So a lot of them was. So this when they say curse should I be in the city, and then say curse should I be in the field. Was the Caucasians ever cursed in the fields doing this? Was the Chinese man there? Was the Japanese man there? Was the East Indian man there? No, they wasn't there. We are the ones that's cursed in the fields, man. This is what it's talking about, slavery. So if somebody ever wondered, so if people ever wondered why did black people go through slavery, why did black people go through slavery? How is it possible for one puny white man to take 100 or 1,000 black men and put them on one plantation with only one or two white men? How is that possible? Because we broke the covenant that we made with our God, right? We broke the covenant that we made with our God. So the Most High God put us through this because he told us before this is what I'm saying, man. He told us ahead of time that all of this was going to happen to us and to our seed line if we obeyed the commandments, but our people chose to disobey God. I mean, my bad. He told our people that this was going to happen. Yeah, I think I said that right. He told our people that all of this stuff was going to happen if we disobeyed the commandments. And our people disobeyed the commandments anyway. So it ain't like they didn't know this was going to happen. They knew that this was going to happen down the line. And they wanted to do whatever they wanted to do. So this is why we was cursed in the fields, man, because we disobeyed God. But every other nation of people can't say that they was ever or their ancestors were ever getting their back beat in by a whip, had chains around their neck or yoke of iron around their neck. Their children got sold to different plantations. Their women got ravished by the slave master. Their child got fed to alligators, and they got alligator bait. That's where they got alligator bait from. They never can say these things. Only a group of people can say this happened to them and their ancestors, man. And these are the children of Israel, right? Whoever these people is, I'm just gonna act like I don't know. Whoever these people is, whoever the Israelites is, right now they was cursed in the city, or right now they cursed in the cities, wherever they go. That's getting anywhere they go, they get racially profiled. They get called the N-word. I'm talking about you go out of the country, you got Chinese people calling you the N-word in their own language, right? They got their own little language of them calling you the N-word. Anywhere you go, You can't escape this, man. Right? You're gonna look down, you're gonna get looked down upon, man. So when you get the other curses, right? Let's get some more. It's plenty more, man. I'm just gonna skip around. Let's get verse 30. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shall not gather the grapes thereof. So when you think about this, this reminds you of slavery, right? Because the Bible said when you have a wife, another man gonna lie with her. So what happened during slavery? Right, a lot of brothers had wives, and the slave master came in there and lied with her anytime he wanted to and brought her back. It said, "Thou shalt build in a house, and thou shalt not dwell therein." So, then we build the White House. Then we build America up on our backs. Our ancestors, was they able to dwell in those places that they built, or did they have to do it for free labor and go back to the fields? We wasn't able to. We would plant something, we wouldn't be able to enjoy it because we were sent to different plantations, man. We wasn't able to enjoy anything that we did because we never knew we was going to get sent to another plantation, and the stuff that we worked hard for was going to be in vain, man. Let's get verse 32. I get 31. Thy ox shall be slain before thy eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. Thy ass shall be violently taken away from before thy face, and shall not be restored to thee. Thy sheep shall be given to thy enemies, and thou shalt have none to rescue thee. So this happened to the native Indians when the so-called white man came over here and slew all the oxes and stole everything from them. This happened to us. And then they promised us 40 acres and a mule. We never got that. So these curses are just it relates to it only relates to a group of people, man. So when you get verse 32, it say thy sons and our daughters shall be given into another people. So when this happened, what other people can say their sons and daughters was given to another people besides so-called black people? It said our sons and our daughters was given to another people. That happened during slavery. When they took your child and they gave your child to another plantation. You might have been in Florida and they took your child and sent her to Georgia or sent her to Louisiana. It say that eyes shall look and feel with longing for them all the day long. There shall be no might in thy hand. So the Bible said this also gonna happen to the Israelites, that when they take our child, we're gonna look and long for our children, but we're not gonna have no weapon in our hands to be able to fight back. During slavery, we didn't have no weapons in our hands to fight back. We just had to watch them take our children, man. You could have tried to fight back, but you weren't gonna get far. 9 times out of 10, you were gonna lose your life. But we didn't have no guns. They had all the guns. They had all the knives, right? We didn't have what they had, man. So they was able to do that to our people, and we wasn't able to do nothing about it. So let's get verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb and a byword among all nations when the Lord shall lend thee. So the Bible said, now the Israelites, right, who the chosen people of God, the people that all the nations fear, he said that they're gonna become an astonishment, and we are a astonishment to the world, man. These other nations of people, they look at us as a nation of people like these people are crazy. When they see us shooting each other, they look at us like, oh, they crazy. When they see our women hop out the car during the stop sign and start twerking, they look like, dang, these are the people that God chose. When they turn on TV, they see Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion. When they see our men, our rappers, men with their pants down and showing their boxes, they're like, what's going on? It's an astonishment, man. Right? When they see us acting foolish, now we the laughing stock. Not every other nation of people, they laugh at us. We in astonishment. He say a proverb. Now they got little slick proverbs they say. You want to hide something from a black man? Put it in the book because black people don't read. Or elevator can raise more children than a black man. All type of little slick. I know if anybody grew up, when you grew up, especially in the South, you done heard some little slick racist jokes that's supposed to be funny, and they slick racist. These are proverbs that they throw at us, man. Oh, black people, they love chicken. Black people love watermelon. Oh, just give them some Rellos and some liquor, and that'll shut them up. Right? That's a proverb. And a byword among all the nations. So now a byword, see, and that goes back to that Psalms 83. The Bible said that we was going to become a byword. We wasn't going to get called Israelites no more. We wasn't going to get called, or we wasn't going to get told that we from the tribe of Judah, or the tribe of Ephraim, or the tribe of Gad, or the tribe of Reuben. No nation would appear to us like that no more. Because back then they knew who we was. They knew that we were the Israelites. But now we was going to become a byword. So what is a byword? What are the bywords that we're going to become in today's time? So when you think about the names that a lot of us get called nowadays, it's not what God called us, man. It's not God. You get called, color. You get called N-word. We getting called Negroes, African American, Black, Jamaicans, Dominicans, Black Britons, Afro American. So these are bywords that was given to us, right? These are names that our oppressors gave us, and these are the names that people know us by. And when they make jokes behind the scene, oh, he a porch monkey, that wetback, right? That red skin. These are bywords that they gave us. These are not our God-given names that God gave us. These are our names that our oppressor gave us, and that's a byword. And the Bible said that was going to happen to the Israelites, that they was going to become a byword. So when you get verse 41, thou shalt begot sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. The Bible said that we was going to have sons and daughters, and we wasn't going to be able to enjoy them. Why? Because they're going to go into captivity. Who else did this happen to besides us, man? Like, it's crazy. Like, when I'm reading these curses, who else what other people did this happen to besides us? Verse 43, the stranger that is within thee shall get above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. So the Bible said, that the Bible said that the people, right, was going to get above us very high, and we're going to come down very low. So when you just think about trying to find some pictures of the hood, right? The Bible said we was gonna get brought down very, very low. So when you just think about how the way that we live and just how our environment look, let me get it again. The stranger that is within thee shall get above thee very high. So the stranger, right, the other nations of people are gonna be above us. But remember, the blessings, if we would have kept the commandments, the blessings said that we weren't gonna never have to lend to nobody, right? We will never. That we would never have to go to nobody, right? We would be the one lending to them. We would never have to go to them to try to get anything. They would have to come to us. But now the Bible said now it's reversed, that we got to go to them for everything. We done got brought low and they done got high. So when you look at things like this, and you look at places like when you look at places like Beverly Hills, and you see they people occupy the nice areas in the cities, and you have our people occupying the poverty places, in the hoods. This is what it's talking about. He said he said they're gonna get above us very high, and we shall come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. So this is why we have to go to our oppressors for everything. They own the banks, they own a lot of these restaurants, they own the sports entertainment, they own the liquor stores, the corner stores. We literally have to go to our oppressors for every single thing. They lend to us. When we go to these banks and we need a loan, they giving us that. They own the banks. We not lending no money to them. They lending stuff to us. He said, and they shall be the head, and we're gonna be the tail, because we didn't obey the commandments of our God, man. Let's get verse 48. Therefore shall thou serve thy enemies. So the Bible said we're gonna have to serve our enemies, which the Lord shall send against us, in hunger and in thirst. So when you think about it, right? So when they say we're gonna serve our enemies in one of all things, that means we have to go to them for it. When you hungry, you go to your food spots like Chick-fil-A, Zaxby's, Wendy's, Burger King, KFC, Popeyes. We don't own these big fast food places that our people love to eat. So they're making money off of us. He said, in thirst. When you thirsty, right? When you want that Gatorade, when you want that Sprite, right? You have to go to your oppressors to get that. And you have to pay for water. You have to go, literally, if you want a bottle of water, you have to go to the store and buy that. So we don't own nothing here, man. And who do they normally use for these little Sprite commercials, man? They love to use our people to advertise their stuff, but it don't be ours though. They own these things. When they had LeBron James and Lil Yachty on the Sprite commercial, they gave Travis Scott his own little burger from McDonald's. They use our people for these things, but they use our people to get our other people to come and buy these things, because they know people are gonna get the Sprite if it's LeBron. Or let's get these rap snacks. It got Lil Baby on the cover of it. These rap snacks got the Migos on it. Let me get this, right? Let me get that little Travis Scott burger because Travis Scott said it was good. So they know that our people gonna get it if they put one of these, if they put one of our people, the face of their brand, that they gonna make money because they know our people gonna go buy it. Now, yes, we have our own. Some of us have our own businesses, own food places and things like that. But either way, they still making money off of us, because who you pay your taxes to, who you pay for, who you get your money for that building that you got. If you got like a clothing business, what do you go to get your material? You go to their stores. So like they still making money off of us, even if we have our own businesses. They still got their hand in our money somehow. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's not really ours. We're not really receiving what we should be receiving, because we are under these curses. He said, and in nakedness, right? Even the clothes on your back. You got to, the brands that we love to wear, man. Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, right? Polo, all these brands that our people love to wear. We don't own these things. But even when you think about Michael Jordan, right? Everybody loves Jordans, love the shoe brand, the Jordans. He don't own that though fully. The white man, not the white people that created Nike, they get a majority of that money, right? Because it's really they shoe though, right? It's really they shoe. Even when you think about You got I know Anthony Edwards. He signed with Adidas. He just came out with some shoes not too long ago, but them ain't really his. Like Adidas making that money. Even when you think about Yeezys with Kanye and the Yeezys, right? Kanye ain't making all that money, man. Adidas making that. Those are Adidas. So it's like either way, you have to go to them for clothing, right? And the material that you need to make your clothing. He said, and then want of all things. So he said, everything that you want, you have to go to your oppressors for. You want to leave the country, you have to go to them to get a passport, right? You want that new iPhone, you have to go to Verizon to get a Apple iPhone, and they own Verizon and they own Apple. You want that new Jeep, you got to go to them to get the Jeep, right? You want a school system of education, you have to go to them to get an education. So everything that you think about, you name something that you don't have to go to them for. All things. Just name something that you don't have to go to them for, man. You literally have to go to them for everything. And then the Bible said, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. So the Bible said that the Israelites, right, sometime in history, they're going to have a yoke of iron upon their neck until they destroy mentally. What people had a yoke of iron upon their neck until they were destroyed and not know who they were? Look at these people. This is a yoke of iron, man. That is a yoke of iron. The Bible just literally said that the Israelites were going to have a yoke of iron upon their neck. What other people had a yoke of iron upon their neck? You gotta think about these things, man. It's plenty pictures of the Israelites. It's so many pictures of the Israelites, right? Having yokes of iron upon their neck until they was destroyed. And it reminded me of that scene. If anybody's seen that scene in that movie Roots, when the slave master was whooping Kunta Kinte, and he kept whooping him until he said his name was Toby. He was like, your name Toby. He said, no, I'm Kunta. He kept whooping him. He kept beating him. And then sooner or later, he said his name was Toby. That's what they did during slavery, man. They beat us so badly to the point where we destroyed and calling ourselves a color out of crayon box, calling ourselves two continents, Africa and America, calling ourselves Negroes. We destroyed. We don't know about our history or about our culture, man, because they destroyed us. They beat us, and they beat our history and our culture out of us, man. So check this out, verse 50. Verse 48, 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the ends of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth. A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. So don't this sound like America? How America came up, and it's kind of crazy how it said as swift as the eagle, right? You know the America logo is an eagle, a bald eagle, so it's kind of smooth on words, right? A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, because when they came over here speaking English and Spanish, we didn't know what they was talking about. We wasn't speaking that. They came over here speaking a strange language. That's what the Bible said. They're going to come over here speaking a tongue you're not going to understand. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. So when they came over here, right? To now, like nowadays, they don't respect America don't respect the older and younger generation. That's why you have people that's 80 years old still gotta work, still gotta clock in for a job. They don't care about the older people or the youth, man. If you don't work, you're gonna be poor. They don't care how old you is, man. So, and we see how they treat, the veterans and things like that. They don't. America don't care about their so-called citizens. It say, and he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land until thou be destroyed. Now, this happened a lot. This happened a lot to our northern kingdom, our Hispanic and Native Indian brothers and sisters. How when the so-called white man and Christopher Columbus and the Spaniards, they came over here and they spoiled the cattle, they spoiled the fruit, and they start eating all the. It say, he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land until thou be destroyed, which also shall not leave thee either corn, wine, or oil, or the increase of thy kin, or flocks of thy sheep until you have destroyed thee. So it's like this happened. This happened. This really happened too when you think about when they get the name Thanksgiving from. This happened a lot during that time of Thanksgiving, in the time of them coming over here to this land and killing a lot of Native Indian brothers and sisters, man. Let's get verse 54. It says, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate. So back then, us as a nation of people, we was very loving towards each other. Not even just far back to the thousands of years ago. Just think about 60 or 70 years ago, how so-called black families used to be real closer, man. Used to have cookouts all the time. The whole neighborhood looked after each other's kids, but now it ain't like that no more, man. The Bible said you should have an evil eye towards his brother. So we went from being loving to each other to now we have an evil eye towards our brother. So when you think about a race of people having an evil eye towards a same race of people, what people do you think about? Well, you got black on black crime, you got blood versus Crips. You got our women jealous of our women because she thinks she look good because she got that weave on, envying. We the only ones that hate on each other when we see one another doing good. The other nations of people, to say the least, they look out for each other. They love to see each other doing good because they understand if he doing good, I'm doing good because he my people. They understand that, right? The white man and the white woman, they understand that. But us, we the ones that hate on each other or want to kill each other because he got the nice Jordans on. I want them Jordans. Have an evil eye. You can't even look at your brother in the eyes. He feel like you want to fight. He feel like you trying him, so he reaching for his gun. He said, and towards the wife of his bosom. So it's going to be problems within the household. He going to have an evil eye towards his wife. And towards the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. So the Bible said that the man was going to lead the household. So, if you watching this and you grew up with a father, some of your friends that you was raised up with that didn't have a father in the household that looked just like you. I can name 5 people off the dome that look like me, right? That so-called African Americans that didn't grow up with a father. A lot of us didn't grow up with a father, man. Why? Because that the Most High said that was going to happen because of our disobedience. He said that the man was going to lead the household. He said the man going to have an evil eye towards his wife, and he going to lead the household. So this is why it seems like a lot of times that so-called black relationships don't work out and the man leaving the household and things like that, and now the woman got to raise the child, by herself. It's because we broke the covenant, man. This was a punishment. God said this was going to happen. So it's no coincidence that a lot of us would grow up without a father in the household. It's no coincidence. It's not even in one state, in one area. It's around the whole world. Around the whole world, you have so-called black people not growing up with a father in a household, because these curses, you can't escape these curses. The only way you can reverse these curses is you start keeping the commandments of God. You go back to the covenant that he gave you and you start keeping what he said keep. Other than that, ain't no way you finna reverse these curses. Let me get verse 64. He said, and the Lord shall scatter thee among all people. So wait, didn't this happen throughout history? Didn't so-called black and Hispanic people get sent on slave ships and was scattered around the four corners of the earth? Right? The slave ship went different places. This is why you have some Dominicans and Puerto Ricans and Cubans. They look just like so-called black people, but they just speak Spanish because the ship just stopped over there in that area. We're the same people, just they was conquered by the Spaniards, so they speak Spanish, and we was conquered by the Englishmen, so we speak English. But that's why you have a lot of them. They are people. They were just scattered like we were scattered around the four corners of the earth. So and he said, from one end of the earth even to the other, and thou shalt serve other gods which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. Right. So the Bible prophesied that we was gonna be scattered around our enemies, right? Among all people. That's why you find Israelites, so-called black people, everywhere you go. We in China, we in Japan, we in Jamaica, some of us still in Africa, we in London, we everywhere. Why? Because we are scattered around the four corners of the earth. We have some of us in Hawaii. We everywhere. And a lot of us in idolatry. We put our trust in crystals. Our brothers that's in Islam, they kiss a cobblestone, walk around a cobblestone. People bowing down to the cross, kissing the cross for good luck and getting the cross tattooed on their arm. All this is idolatry, man. So it's like this happened. When you get verse 68 is the kicker. Verse 68 is the kicker to prove that we the Israelites, no questions asked. It said, the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. So what does he mean by Egypt again with ships? Because we know the Israelites, they walked out of Egypt the first time. They didn't know they walked out. So what is he talking about? He gonna bring thee or the Israelites into Egypt again. What do he mean? That word Egypt has a spiritual meaning behind it. When you go to the book of Exodus, it explains what that word Egypt could mean. And then Deuteronomy 28 and 68 will make more sense. It says, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. So Egypt, a lot of times, is referred to as the house of bondage because when you read about in Exodus how the Israelites were in slavery or bondage in Egypt. So when you go back to Deuteronomy 28 and 68, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt or slavery again with ships. So you got to think, okay, now you could have had some people leading up to this video that been watching. They could have been like, well, my ancestors were in the fields. My ancestors were picking cotton. My ancestors were getting mistreated. Okay. Even though you still got to prove that, but prove that your ancestors was on ships, on slave ships. Was everybody on slave ships? No. Was the Chinese man and Japanese people on slave ships? No. Was the white people on slave ships? No. Well, they were driving the ships, but they weren't in chains. They weren't in slavery, right? It says, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there, he said, when we get there to where we brought from on ships, you're going to be sold. Whoa. The Bible said that the Israelites were going to be sold when they get off the ships. What people were sold when they got off the ships? 45, 35, 35, 45, 55, sold to the Johnson plantation. Who they did that to? Who was on the auction blocks? Who was on auction blocks, right? Getting sold. Still, they had signs, right? They made posters of sellings, and they sent them to the plantation, to the slave masters, and all the slave masters came to buy a slave. This happened to our people, proving that we are the Israelites. We're the only people that was sold to our enemies for bond men. which is slave man, and bond woman, which is slave woman, and no man gonna buy us. And what it mean by buy us, meaning to redeem us, man, because we had some people try to redeem us. The Black Panther tried to save us, they couldn't do it. Malcolm X tried to, he couldn't do it. Marcus Garvey tried to, he couldn't do it. Martin Luther King, he started trying to, but he couldn't do it. Why? Because the only person that's going to deliver us is who the world called Christ, Yahweh Shai. But these curses are to show that this is why we go through what we go through as a people, man. Right? This is why we seem like we catch so much hell and we feel like we are cursed, because we are, because we broke the covenant that we made with our God, man. But we are indeed the Israelites, man. Let me get this other verse right here. Let's get Isaiah. This for the more proven that we the Israelites. And you can just read and just you'll be like, man, that's crazy. This is talking about this. You can't. It's no denying it. So when you get in verse 14, in verse oh no, that ain't what I want. That ain't what I want. My bad. Isaiah 42. It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 42 and verse 22. But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes. So even Isaiah was saying, hey, these people robbed and spoiled. We robbed and spoiled, man. You know, they stole everything from us. You know, when they came over here, they stole our gold, they stole our wealth, they stole our cattle. We are robbed and spoiled. They stole our identity. So it's like, man, they say there are all of them snared in holes, and they are all hid in prison houses. So the Bible said that the Israelites, right, are hid in prison houses. So when you look in today's time, the people that occupy the prisons, they're Black and Hispanic people. We are the ones that make up the prison houses. They are for a prey and none delivered, for a spoil and none saith restore. So we are prey, man. We are the people that, you know, that we are the people that people love to kill and hate. We are that prey, man, that people hunt. And none saith, and nobody don't speak for our people. We are the only people that's gonna speak for our people. Nobody is saying restore their stuff back. Give them that 40 acres and a mule, right? We give them their land back. This ain't our land. Give them their land back, right? Give them their money and their gold and their resources back. Nobody's saying that, speaking up for us. The Bible said that nobody says restore. They just turn a blind eye to it and act like it's not happening. We are the people of the book, man. You so-called black, you so-called black and Hispanic people, we are the Israelites according to the Bible. We are the chosen people of God, man. This is us. This is us, man. The Bible is our history book. When you read the Bible, stop reading it as a fairy tale and as, well, it got good advice. No, start reading this book as this book was written by my ancestors for me to read. This is your history. This is why in school, they don't tell you your history before slavery. They just start your history off at 16, 19 and you being a slave. They never tell you who you was before slavery, man. You are these people that descend from these great people, man. You are descendant from David, the one that slew Goliath. Yes, you are a descendant from. Everybody can't say that, right? Every other nation of people can't say they are a descendant and blood related to David, Daniel, Solomon, Samson, Christ, King Josiah. A lot of people can't say that, man. They can't. but we can because this is our book. This is the blackest book on the earth, man. When you read about these people, you would say Adam and Eve, they were made from the dust of the ground. When you look up the dust of the ground is different shades of brown, man. Different shades of brown, which proven that the people that was first here on the earth, right? The people that was created first here on the earth, these people around the world, around the earth, were melanated people. Well, Christ got woolly hair with burnt brass skin, right? These are our people, man. Right? King Solomon said, "I am black but comely." He's so-called black man. Right? So Lord willing, this video was edifying, man. Lord willing, this was edifying. Just a little proof. I might do a part 2 because there's more information in this Bible to prove that we're the people of the book, man. But I'm at an hour right now. So Lord willing, I could come back with a part 2 if it be of the Lord's will. Right? So with that, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh by Shemi Awashai. Say Shalom. Kwame Asherallah.